Mic lock button is on.
Hello folks, I'm in my office next door at my next door neighbour Neil's house, my landlord, where we do our advertising company. I've done about 4 videos already tonight, and guess what? This vid is an underground video. It's an underground video. And tonight, this goes out on the following Monday. There's about 2 videos already in the underground series. This video is episode 4. We'll have recorded episode 3, and both videos go out on the same week, so you'll have seen all the other videos, hopefully. Sorry, this is episode 4. Episodes 1, 2, and 3 will have already gone out by the time this video goes out, as we make the videos before, and so on. This video is a discussion on the underground, and by the way, the first 4 videos in the series are introductions videos, but after this video, we're going to be talking space, which is why episodes 5 and 6 are in the process of being made, and episode 7. I can say that the videos will not be going out this quick, but since it's an intro, so I kind of wanted to do about a few videos in one go, and episode 3, if you hear, there's an announcement in episode 3 saying we're going to do what we were going to do in episode 3 and episode 5, because not only will it be good to do it later on in the series, but the series will come advanced. So I would say go listen to episode 1, because episode 1 is quite in depth, and episode 1, if you're not ready for episode 1, listen to episode 2. Episode 2 is kind of an intro. It's just the way we've done it, but we're doing these 3 parts as the series as an introduction to the underground ways of thinking, underground ways of looking at things, underground ways of reading, underground ways of but personally, you should give something about nothing. You should give us something about everything, because that is just the way that everything is. You should not give something about social media. And there's a rant coming in a few videos' time about that. But we put a couple of these videos out on social media just to get people interested in our series. There's a video we're going to be doing later on in the series, which we're not ready to do yet. But this series will carry on going. There's no beginning or end to it. Well, there's an intro, but there's actually no end to this series. It keeps on going. And as long as people want this will be really, really cool for those people. First of all, as a big heads up, and I've already done 2 videos already on this channel. And unlike the last video, I'm not gonna put any screenshots of any websites in, because I won't need to. The next video that I'm doing will have screenshots in. We'll be talking about so on and so forth. But the reason, people want us to talk about aliens and stuff, and we will do. Be patient. we got to do an introduction to this series before we get into aliens and UFOs and so on and so forth. And I kind of say that, most of most of what we do is, there's a purpose to why we're doing it. So first of all, underground. What does it mean to be underground? I left that question out in the last video, and I still want to leave that question out in this video too, because it's an open question with an open answer. In this video, I want to give the definition of underground and the definition to underground ways of thinking. So the definition of underground is beneath the surface of the earth. But also, just to enhance on that definition, it's also working with Mother Nature. So, yeah. Also, it's tunneling underneath. You build tunnels underneath the earth and so on and so forth. I'll do the definition of underground person in a minute. Underground is also turning your back on the establishment. Also, it is basically lying low, and yes, this does mean committing crimes, going against certain laws, and basically rebelling. So this does go again. This is like against everything, anti everything, screw everything. That's what it is. And we're making our own Facebook page called we're creating our own a few things actually. But anyway, so now as an underground person, what's the definition of that? Well, we are independent. We have our own way of thinking. We are not criminals and we're not fascists. Some of us are criminals, but some of us aren't. And we go the paths that we need to go to. We're into things that other people may not be into. Our eyes are wide open and our ears are wide open. And our minds are open. We're open to every single thing. We're open to all perceptions. And we're not open to mainstream and corporate companies, even though I'm doing a video on corporate companies. But we're not open to corporate and mainstream. And both are what the above ground person looks to. The above ground person is corporate and mainstream. Some people are just mainstream, some people are just corporate, but sometimes you'll get people that are both, and you'll get people that read into every single thing. And sometimes you won't get people who read into every single thing. And, but underground people, it's about reading in between the lines. It's about searching for the minute print. It's about questioning what's out there. It's about questioning what is and what isn't. And I had to talk, but, and the whole thing is like the coronavirus we can't talk about coronavirus because, it'll affect the algorithm of YouTube, but we'll just shove it under the carpet, and seriously, what happened to the AIDS virus in the 80s? Did we hush that up? Of course we have. We hushed that up because it's like it's dead and buried. Well, no, it isn't. There's people that still get AIDS. AIDS is still a thing. It's just that it's not talked about. And yeah, there are ways of treating it. When they start treating this so-called coronavirus, they'll shut up about it. But until then, they won't. And you get these environmentalists that talk about climate change, and they won't shut up about climate change. It's like they're blaming humans for they're blaming humans for damaging the ozone layer, and it's only half of our fault. The rest of it is something that we're not responsible for. Are we responsible for a storm? Hell no. Are we responsible for rain? Hell no. Yes, lesser aeroplanes in the air has cleaned up the airflow a little bit. Lesser cars on the road. This has all been proven. We know this. What we don't know is that we are not responsible for infecting the ozone layer. Nature is responsible for it. 99.9% nature is responsible for it. Do we believe that the coronavirus has come from China? No. But, what does mainstream media tell you? What does corporate media tell you? It's just like everything is so screwed up, and it's like, why? Why even think like that? It's like, we can't question this because if we do question this, it's an act of terror. You're all freaking insane. You're all reading, if the print's not freaking big enough for you, you won't bloody read it. That's plain and simple, right? So, are we not allowed to have an opinion about coronavirus? Hell no, because we have to look at the death rates, and we have to believe that most of those death rates is down to coronavirus. Well, okay, here's my point of COVID-19. Is why aren't they checking this properly? Why aren't they checking this properly? You haven't got proper researchers out there that are checking the coronavirus, and how do we know that it's not airborne? How do we know it's not? And if it was so contagious, this virus, there wouldn't be screens up in shops. People wouldn't be wearing masks. And tell you what, they're using this as a very evil way that people are doing this. But no, we can't question this because we can't. We're not allowed to, because mainstream corporate media is telling us we cannot question this. It's basically COVID-19 is out there and it's killing half population. End of. So just shut up and put up with it. Well, I tell you this, folks, you above ground people, if you don't want to hear this, then go away from this video and live your little lives, knowing that something's out there that is killing off everybody. Right? Now, for the rest of you, and by the way, please read the description and the title carefully, because we have not scripted this, but we have to talk about this, because if we're not going to talk about it, it's not going to get spoken about, it's not going to get mentioned. But, you want to know what I think about the coronavirus? I think that it's not as effective as people seem to think it is. And it's out there. And if the flu jab is going to fix it, why are they looking for other drugs? It's like the mental health industry. They think they can fix everything. They think they can fix everything. And that's why everybody in the mental health industry is so screwed up, because they're looking for drugs to fix every single thing. Well, you can't fix every single thing. You can fix most of the things. You can fix most of those things, but you can't fix every single thing. You know? You know? And it's like, you can't fix autism. Yeah, you can't fix anybody that's got a learning difficulty or a learning disability. You can't fix, you know, those things you cannot fix. So stop trying to fix them. And I'll keep on ranting about this because one, I'm autistic, and two, I've had people telling me I'm not autistic, and those people that tell me that I'm not autistic are fucking brain dead. I'm going to say that now, are fucking brain dead. And I'm going to say this as well. If you think that autism is a mental illness, you're fucking brain dead. Right? I'm going to say that now. And I'm telling you this, right? I do not put that lightly. I do not put that lightly. And I'm not talking to autistic people. I'm talking to those people who say that autism is a mental illness. It's not a mental illness. You know, schizophrenia is a mental illness. Depression is not a mental illness. Depression is a state of mind, but it's a problem that can be fixed by drugs, right? And that's my opinion. But, you know, there are things out there, you know. Can medication fix some things? Yeah, it can fix half of those things. Can people get better? Yes, they can. Certain mental illnesses can go away, you know. It's the strength of that person. I mean, autism can be cured, but only if the person wants that to be cured, and only if that person has the capacity to fix themselves. You know, think of a robot. You know, some robots can fix themselves, but they can only fix certain parts of themselves. So these are the things we're going to come back to when we talk about artificial intelligence. As an underground person, as things that I do not take lightly because I believe in those things, you know, abuse, for instance, neglect, abuse, neglect, but people will use people will use their power to try and destruct those people in whatever way possible. I'm sorry if this is a ranty video, but things need to be said, and I personally think that those opinions and views need to be made. You know, and I'm going to do a video about Nazis to describe the underground and to describe that I'm not a Nazi. However, I do think there's a cool side to Nazis. I'm going to discuss about radical art, and I'm also going to discuss about abstract art, and I'm also going to discuss other things. Well, this video, I also want to talk about abstract thinking, which is falling off the edge of the curb. A lot of people are frightened to go over the edge of the curb or go over the edge of the universe. They're frightened of what's on, what's off the edge. We're all frightened, aren't we? And, it's part of being a caveman. You sometimes have to go and venture for what those things that you're looking for kind of is. But, I just think that, some things can be highly offensive to other people too. And I've put all this in the description too, because I just think that, this all needs saying. The thing with the underground is you get some people who are too far left and some people are too far right. Now, I'm going to be discussing underground media for quite a few videos yet, just to get people into our way of thinking, our perception, what we're about and what we're not about. And I think that's kind of what it is. You will get turf wars because that's the underground for you. And there are theories and myths and things I do want to cover up in this series. Sorry, things I do want to cover on this series, but not yet, because I want to get people nice and comfortable with this series, and people who've got that way of thinking, welcome aboard. And the feedback is like, the questions will carry on coming, the answers will carry on building up, and when we do those videos, because we are going to get a lot deeper. When we start talking about aliens and universes and parallel universes, spiritual...
The time is 7:27 p.m.
When we start getting into spiritualization, parallel universes, robots, all that good stuff. Mostly we're talking about aliens, but we can't talk about aliens without mentioning parallel universes first. So there's all that. And I think people want the cool stuff, but to understand the cool stuff, you've got to know. It's like when you're in a lesson at school, they don't throw you at the deep end. They start you in the shallow end and then take you to the deep end. And this is what I want to do. I want to start you all in the shallow end and then take you to the deep end. And I want to do that myself because I'm doing lots and lots of research at one time. And I am researching COVID-19. I am doing my research. For people who aren't, I'm doing my research. And for people who want the research, I will give you the links. Not in the description because YouTube will tell me off, but I'll show you links and stuff. Screenshots and things. And obviously we'll go through and check different websites and so on and so forth. But, there's this whole thing about being radical. This whole thing that if you're underground, you're either hard right or hard left. And it's still going on today. And there's so many things that I'd like to cover. Because if I'm not going to cover them, or if I'm not going to search for them, then it's up to you guys to help me with the research. And that's, basically what I talk on. And I have my own beliefs as well. So for those of you who have those beliefs, whatever, let's not start turf wars. Let's, instead of having a turf war, let's help each other out. Let's have that community. We help each other out, and, you know, Fedus, and I'll look at the comments and so on. Now, the thing is, you know, we look at comments and we respect all that stuff too. So there's 3 videos going out in the Underground series. This is actually, I'm going to put this out with part 1 and part 2 just to kick things off. Part 4, 5 and 6 will be uploaded next week. Then part 7 will be done in a couple of weeks when we've got the research, when we've got the notes from the first video, and we've got all the bits we need to talk about for part 4. Part 6. Because in parts 4 and 5, we're going to be discussing the more underground media and radicalisation and all the turf wars. And I think in either part 4 or part 5, I'm going to do a rant on Facebook, rant on the mainstream, and, you know, then from part 6 to whatever, we're going to discuss about parallel universes and aliens and space. People want to know that stuff. And this is all going out in the Underground series. We're calling it the Underground series or the Wormhole series. But as the further we go down this wormhole, or the rabbit hole as people call it, the further that we go down, you'll notice that things go a bit more deeper, and we want you guys to think for yourselves. We don't want people saying this is how you should be thinking, because that's not the way.
One notification. Mic trigger. Mic lock. Finish recording.